In January 1923, Vishwanatha Swami went back to Tiruvannamalai without informing his parents. By this time, Bhagavan had already come down to the present Ramana Ashramam, which was just several thatched huts. When he presented himself, Bhagavan's first question was, "Did you leave any letter or tell your parents about coming here?" Vishwanathan shook his head, and Bhagavan instructed him, "I did it when I left home. Why did you not do it? Now, write a letter to your parents that you are here safe and sound." Bhagavan then permitted him to stay. Vishwanathan discovered that Bhagavan's power and presence were so strong that he did not need any formal sadhana. But still, he studied Bhagavan's works thoroughly and worked in the ashram under Bhagavan's inspirational presence. The more he studied Bhagavan's teachings, the stronger his conviction became that the mere presence, the mere proximity and company of Bhagavan was more than enough. His conviction grew even stronger when he later read one of Bhagavan's verses in the supplement to 40 verses on reality, where he says, "When one associates oneself with the company of a sage, there is no need for religious and spiritual practices, just as there is no need for a fan when the cool southern breeze blows." After a few days, Bhagavan asked him what mode of spiritual practice he was ready to take up. Vishwanathan replied that from childhood he was drawn to the Gayatri mantra, one of the holiest Hindu mantras, and that he had been chanting it. Bhagavan replied, "That is very good, but you must practice it sincerely, every day at a particular time, totally attuning yourself with it." Bhagavan then took Vishwanathan behind Ramana Ashramam to a small cave on the hill. If one sits there, one can view Arunachala on the eastern and western sides without the discomfort of the burning sun. Bhagavan told him, "There is a particular time when you should do the japa. I will come and inspect your practice, so be very disciplined about it." Later on, Vishwanatha Swami actually took me to that cave, and I was elated when he said, "Bhagavan did come and check. Those were not merely words." However, being completely engrossed in his japa, Vishwanathan was not aware that Bhagavan checked many times to make sure that he was capable of fulfilling his commitment. Vishwanathan lived with Bhagavan from 1923 to 1927, doing arduous spiritual practice. This was the period of effulgence and of effort. The Guru bestows his grace when the disciple sincerely makes the effort. Vishwanathan was not sure how far he had progressed, and so he asked Bhagavan, "Bhagavan, how can I rise above my present animal instincts? My own efforts have proven futile. I am convinced that only a superior power can transform me." Bhagavan replied with great compassion, "Yes, you are right. It is by awakening a power higher and mightier than the senses and the mind that these can be subdued. If you awaken and nurture the growth of that higher power within you, everything else will unfold mystically. One should sustain the current of meditation uninterruptedly. moderation in food, and similar restraints taken up studiously and judiciously will be helpful in maintaining inner poise. Remember, Vishwanatha, do not mingle with people who come here. Do not waste time socializing, talking with people, and also getting attached. Keep your talking to the minimum. Vishwanatha Swami devoutly adhered to Bhagavan's words, so much so that whenever he spoke, his voice was almost inaudible. He restricted his movements to going to the town to beg for food. Some old devotees told me that Vishwanatha Swami was known for his soft-spoken demeanor and restrained movement. I want to share a very interesting incident which Vishwanatha Swami described to me about this important stage of his life. After 4 months of him coming to Bhagavan, a letter arrived from Dindigul stating that Vishwanatha Swami's father was coming for a visit. Vishwanatha Swami showed this letter to Bhagavan, who said, "Vishwanatha, your family is also coming. Go to the railway station, receive them, but do not talk to your father without my presence. Receive them and drop them in the town where they have arranged for a house to stay in. As for you, go back to your cave and keep doing your japa. I will send word for you, but even then, do not talk to your father. Come and prostrate, not to me, but to your father, and stand in silence. I will look after the rest." Vishwanathan's father, Ramaswamy, did not know Bhagavan's spiritual stature. He knew him as Venkataraman, a runaway relative who had taken to the ascetic life. At that time, the old hall at Ramanasramam was being built, and so Bhagavan and the others had moved to a mantap across the road. When Vishwanatha Swami's father went there and saw Bhagavan, he could at once sense his spiritual stature. The next moment, he prostrated before him in absolute awe and devotion. Then, Bhagavan sent word to Vishwanathan. As advised, Vishwanathan came and prostrated before his father and stood next to him with folded hands and bent head. Ramaswamy was very angry. He turned to Vishwanathan and said, "Oh, this is enough. Now pack up and come with me. That is why we have come, to take you back to Dindigul." A stony silence pervaded the mantap. Bhagavan looked at Ramaswamy and said, "Vishwanathan has taken to the path of surrender and self-purification." Ramaswamy was not fully satisfied, and Bhagavan reasoned with him, saying, "Allow Vishwanathan to stay here. It will do him good." These words worked like magic, and the father melted. He looked at Bhagavan, and his paternal instincts influenced him to plead with Bhagavan. If Bhagavan takes the responsibility of Vishwanathan's spiritual fulfillment, I will have no objection in leaving him here. There was complete silence again. Vishwanathan never expected this, and everyone looked at Bhagavan. Bhagavan compassionately turned and made this declaration in public, saying, "Yes, I will take the entire responsibility of Vishwanathan's spiritual growth." In Chinnaswami's case, Bhagavan assured his mother in private that he would take the responsibility for Chinnaswami. But with Vishwanatha Swami, he declared this in public. However, these are not two isolated instances. When we sincerely dedicate ourselves to practice, it is Bhagavan's assurance, even now, that he will take the entire responsibility of each one's spiritual fulfillment. Remember Bhagavan's holy words: the effort of the seeker and the grace of the Guru are synonymous and simultaneous. Our part is only to make the effort.